judgment said that the General Assembly decided this. So the English and Georgian federations, or let's be honest about this, Mr. Kasparov, having found two federations to front his claim, were wrong in claiming that it was the President. It's the General Assembly's decision they objected to, and I think members of General Assembly should remember this. It's not the President they were attacking, it was the whole General Assembly. They also said that, so on the basis of the thing as to whether the General Assembly was able to or not able to make this decision, they did not make a decision on this. They also did not make a decision on whether it was correct under Swiss law for, let's say, a third party who obviously is not party to FIDE to finance legal proceedings and then, or instruct lawyers to start legal proceedings and then try and find a federation or two that will sign up to what he is doing. I mean, it's been quite obvious here to anybody who's been here that it's Mr. Kasparov who's giving the orders, and it's not the, certainly here we've seen it's not the US Chess Federation, the Bulgarian or English Chess Federations, it's purely Mr. Kasparov. Part of our long discussions on the statutes is to try and find some way of ensuring this doesn't happen in the future, because we believe it's, I mean, as you can see, and as Mr. Herbert will tell you, there's 1.2 million of FIDE money that could have been used in developing countries or for other FIDE things. We received, in this, we received from CAS 75,000 Swiss francs, which we have received from White & Case. We're also due to receive our cost to CAS, which is 45,000 Swiss francs, which means a total of 100,000 Swiss francs. In the accounts for last year, the auditors wanted almost all the costs for this CAS case to be put into the accounts. So at the moment, our accounts, I think, might be showing actually a little profit in legal fees this year, because obviously we've got some money back. Whether we'll last for a profit in legal fees at the end of the year, I don't know, but at least it's a nice change to have actually a plus figure in legal fees rather than huge minus figures. Are there any comments?
Thank you, Nigel. You know, I would like to add a few more information. What we are trying to do now with our status, actually, is that we are trying, first of all, to discourage people of running to CAS for no reason. Or we try also to our status to be built in such a way that if somebody wants to go for electoral reasons to CAS, to go after elections, not before. This is all the efforts with the lawyers also of Kasparov. Because if you have to go after elections, then when you see the results, you never go. If the difference is big, you never go. So actually, if Gary and Karpo, they were not in a hurry to run in the first place to CAS before elections, we will never spend this 900,000. After they saw the elections, the results, they could understand that there is no reason to go anymore. Because the result, the difference was huge. So we try to create a status that will discourage people of suing for no reason. We try also to make sure that if it is possible, FIDE will get as much more money back from the money that we are spending. Here, of course, I heard Gary 2 days ago giving his own arithmetics that he won 2 cases, he lost 2 cases. They sued FIDE, asking from the court several things. They got nothing from what they were asking. But what he says, because in the first case, our lawyers, they were fighting with the jurisdiction of the court. If court had the jurisdiction, and the court accepted they had the jurisdiction to deal with this application of Karpov and the federation, then we lost this part. And then we lost the part that we were asking more money and we could not get more money. This is his arithmetic. How you can understand, of course, has nothing to do with the real arithmetics. They sue us 2 times, they lost both times. But it's not possible that we will continue like this. Because if there is unlimited money behind somebody, every time he can push federations just to sue FIDE for not important reasons, and like this, very soon FIDE will not have any more money to spend for lawyers or for projects. This is one of the reasons that in the status we are insisting very much to be clear where the money is coming for these federations that they want to sue FIDE. This money should pass from the accounts of the federations. This is transparency. It's not possible that somebody is playing a game, he has money, nobody knows from where, and he is using this money to sue FIDE. So one of the points that we were insisting very much, it was to be clear everything. How much money FIDE people they are getting because they are in the appeal committees or they are in their arbiters, all members of the board, plus from where is coming this money that the federation are using to sue FIDE. Because then you will find out it will be very much more difficult for federations to make such decisions that by spending money, private money, that nobody knows from where it's coming, they are ready to sue FIDE. And also, when the federation decides to sue FIDE, there should be a guarantee there. If they lose, they should pay us. We don't want to bankrupt a federation because somebody is playing political games behind this federation. So, this is what we try to do, among the other things, with the new status.
Thank you. Zaragoza legacy, everybody always asks me what on earth is Zaragoza legacy. Senor Zaragoza was a Spanish gentleman, we have no idea who he was, but when he died, he left his property to 5 parties, one of which was FIDE. We then, luckily, prior to the collapse of the Spanish property market, we then arranged for this property to be sold and the amounts divided up equally amongst the legatees of Mr. Zaragoza's will. And we gained as FIDE about 167,000 euros. It cost us about 15,000 in lawyers. So thanks to Mr. Zaragoza, we've received 150,000. Unfortunately, we have no idea who he was. But
there are not relatives who cannot speak it.
We've tried to find out, and we haven't really been able to find out exactly much about it. But that's what Zaragoza is about.
Okay, next. Ibero-America.
Ibero-America plus, it's also Annex 76. I know it's an Ibero-America thing, and they will discuss it at it will be raised by then at the General Assembly, but I'm pleased to hear that we've now sorted out the problem of the Ibero-American Championship, and it has been agreed that it will be rated.
Yes.
So
okay.
that's good.
Proposals regarding the official FIDE languages, Annex 63, there is any other? 964?
Just proposal to add these as official FIDE languages. What we agreed when we agreed to add Arabic and I believe afterwards Russian also is that yes, they can be FIDE official languages, but if they wish us to translate anything into these languages, they have to pay themselves for it.
Especially during Congress, if they want to have simultaneous translations, they should cover the cost. From the first moment when we had added new languages as official language to FIDE, we accept all languages if somebody wants his language to be official, but they should cover the cost. If they want simultaneous translations or the document to be translated, printed documents to be translated in their own language, they should bear the cost during this event. This is the important point.
Yes, Spanish and English we agree to.
We are going from now on, we are going to have Spanish and English. I will go to that point. Now, what is the problem here sometimes? Because in some regulations it's written that seminars should be, for example, in one of the official languages. If we have, let's say, seminars in Greece or in Israel, there is a problem that they say the seminar should be in one of the official languages, so not in Hebrew or in Greek. The same problem they have many other federations. But I believe Israel, because you have raised to me this point we should solve with the regulations of the commissions for the seminars. Yes.
I spoke to the chairman of the relevant commission, and actually what he's saying that his opinion that it should be solved here in the official languages, not in his regulations. But talking about this, I would like to just to add that I was looking at the annexes of the Iranian Chess Federation and the Turkish Chess Federation. So far as I know, there were no criteria for official languages. We had English, we had Spanish because so many federations speak Spanish, but about the rest, so I can understand that everyone who comes, every federation who has a different language from the official which exists, can ask for this. I saw the reasoning of the Iranian and the Turkish. They are very well presented. They have activities, they have books, they have many players, which is okay. So if this is so, and I accept this, why don't we announce that also Chinese, if it's not there, and Hindu, if it's not there, are also official, because there are so many books, so many players, there are important federations. Why don't we announce in our initiative that also there are official languages? So I'm suggesting to add, according to these criteria, the Chinese, if it is not there, I don't remember.
Hindu, I don't understand why you want to do something which is, let's say, the federation should ask this. Then let's add Italian as coming from the Latin, Greek as coming from this, and all this. We have this language. Federations are coming for several reasons, and they are asking the language to be official. We can recognize all languages in FIDE as official languages. For me, the problem is one. When we recognize a language, if there is a cost for translations, interpretations, these federations, they should pay the cost.
I'm not arguing this.
So this is the point. Then let the federations to come to us whatever they want, but they should know this and let them apply.
Okay, so because of what you have mentioned about the seminar, I am asking to include also Hebrew as an official language in order to avoid us, FIDE, not recognizing our seminars.
Israel. Sorry, can I say that I disagree with Mr. Rivas or whoever you spoke to? All they have to do in their regulations is just remove official. If they remove the words official, then seminars can be held in Hebrew or in Chinese or whatever language. So it's much easier for it to be dealt with under their regulations than it is under our regulations.
Of course, still you can ask next time, because this moment is not on the agenda, Hebrew to be recognized as an official language. I will do it for Greek also. Maybe there will be another 50 languages here to finish with this problem. Toti. All languages will be official, so no problem.
Toti. Yes, microphone.
Just like to recall that when we added Portuguese, one of the reasons was that it was spoken by several countries. So that should be one of the criteria. How many countries speak this language? Not Hebrew or Chinese.
You mean, you know how many Jews there are around the world? And Greeks?
Sundar, yeah.
Sundar.
Probably we can have some benchmark.
Microphone.
Probably we can have a benchmark. We can set sort of rules and regulations. And then if anyone comes within those parameters, then probably we can make them. Instead of going from, as you said, India has got 24,000 rated players, much above even Russia, now as of today. So, and Hindi is spoken by nearly 1.2 billion people. So what we will do is we will have a parameter set, which are if any language comes within those parameters, we will make it official. Instead of taking up each and every language, then we are opening a Pandora's box. We should have parameters set. The number of people speaking or the number of players playing. So we can have a committee who can set a parameter. And then probably we can come to FIDE and decide whether it can be done. That would be better.
Thank you, Sundar. So, yes, Mazus, I saw Boutali went before, and then Mazus, Dr. Jupri and Boutali. Yes, Mazus.
I think maybe there is a way out. We can have official languages, the one we have, and all the others, they can be working languages wherever you want.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have a problem with the numerous requests, and I believe we should benchmark with other international organizations, FIFA. There must be some guidelines in terms of the official languages. Otherwise, there would be no end. I think there should be clear guidelines in terms of what sort of parameters should we look at. Should it be the numbers, etc.? And again, looking at IOC, FIFA, etc., we should be able to adapt some of their guidelines if they have any, rather than just have the, request after request for inclusion of languages. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Jupri, you want to speak?
Yeah, the problem of the languages. If we if you want to give every language the right to be treated equally in our assembly, we would have about 150 languages, I think, in FIDE. The European Union has recognized 23 languages. And that is of course a huge amount of money which goes to interpreters and translators, which is very good for them. However, from the practical point of view, of course, there are what translators call the pivotal languages, leading languages, central languages, something like that. It's the European Union, it's English and French. In our case, we have so far 7 official languages. However, it is certainly practical to say that English, and it is a statistical problem, Spanish counting federations, countries speaking Spanish, to give them a priority, and to give them the priority to say they are the leading official languages of FIDE. At the same time, we drop a little the rights of Russian and Arabic and even German and French, not to forget them. However, from a practical point of view, I think the solution is good to say, let us give English and Spanish this privilege, and at the same time it means the obligation for federations who organize congresses, our Congress, to assure translations by interpreters, simultaneous translations. As far as I understand, Ali Yaziki has announced that even Turkish will be considered here will have simultaneous translation, and Russian, as far as I see. That is I would say, additional effort of the Turkish Chess Federation. We should be grateful for that. And as far as the papers are concerned, it is a question of translating them into languages as far as it is necessary. And on the other hand, we will have interpreters in our assemblies who help delegates. That's a point we discussed already yesterday.
Thank you, Professor Jungwirth. You want to add Latin? Mr. Rivello.
Thank you. I believe we are mixing two different topics, because we are even discussing these days the changements in our statutes. We are using the same word with two different meanings, in my opinion, because, well, when we speak about official languages, we are speaking about something in which all documents or all official documents have to be translated in mandatory way in all these different languages, and when we are searching for an interpretation of these official documents, we have to take into account all these languages. So this is in reality the technical mean of the word official language. Different thing is the working language. So when, for example, during an assembly, there are some participants that want to give a speech in a language, this is authorized, but it is authorized when, in our case, it could be authorized when all expenses are covered. Are two different things. So I think that in the current draft of the new statute, there is just one real official language. It is English. It is the language that, in which all the official documents have to be interpreted. If there is a difference between two translations of the same document, the English translation is the official one. So in reality, we have just one official language. We use the same word. In my opinion, it would be better to change the word and use the word working language, but I understand that for diplomatic reasons, everybody prefers to mention again all of the other languages as official. But there will be a list outside the statute and the administrative rules that list all the other languages. These languages are working languages. That means that if someone wants in an assembly to cover all expenses, they can, with an exception, Spanish. Spanish must be covered as working language. Not, in my opinion, as official language, because if it is real, in the correct meaning, an official language, that means that if we have a statute in English, we have to be an official translation in Spanish, and if there is a difference, we have to interpret, taking into account both languages. And it's clear that if we do this for all languages, it's terrible. One of the main problems of the European Union is exactly that all these languages are official languages. Take other organizations, as for example the Council of Europe. There are just 2 official languages, there are 5 working languages. The other countries can be authorized by the chairman, or it depends, to use their language if they cover all expenses. I, frankly speaking, would prefer this solution. So we can add, the only real problem that we have in this moment, in my opinion, is a country authorized to use, if you cover all its expenses, its language in a General Assembly? We are asking yes, we are answering yes, sorry. But well, if we will have 20 or 40 official languages, it will be very difficult to organize a Congress, because I think there are very few Congress rooms that are equipped with a sufficient number of boxes for translations. So the second point is exactly if one country can organize seminars for trainers or for arbiters in their language. So, in my opinion, this is the only real problem is the problem of arbiters and other commissions. The other problems are just something as diplomatic. So, some countries would like to say to the government their language is an official language of FIDE, but in reality it's not an official language, because particularly if we approve the new statutes, the only real official language is English.
Thank you, Mr. Rivello. Ali.
Okay, thank you for all supports and criticizations. I agree with everyone. So it's difficult, but I do. But for us, you should understand, it's like something good for the Turkish government we are doing after Olympiad. That's the reason we asked this. And if you come to Turkish language, I don't want to go details, but you can. It's not my encyclopedia. You can go to Wikipedia. You can check. It's more than 250 million people speaking in different 40 countries. So I will ask General Assembly support this. After 2-3 years, you can change your opinion. Thank you.
Yes. Cambodia, please.
Thank you. I have just a question from Gelfer. How many countries speak Portugal? When FIDE accept Portugal language for official FIDE, why Gelfer forgot Chinese and Indian language? No, just Persian or Turkish language most. We asked for official language. They say that yes, if Chinese and Indian language is a half of population of world, why you choose English or French or another language for official? Most you choose the Hindu and Chinese language for official most, because half of world people is Hindu and Chinese. Thank you very much.
Can someone repeat? I didn't understand the question. Macro, can you repeat the question? I didn't.
The idea of the official language in the past, it was a language we can be, you can find that they are speaking countries in 4 continents. Portugal was one of these languages actually, with Brazil in Americas, Portugal in Europe, Mozambique, Angola in Africa, and Macau in Asia. So there were countries in 4 continents, and like this came all these decisions about countries' official language that they are speaking in 4 continents. But now, what is the reality today? Today we have one official language, which is English in FIDE. It's going to be in our status also. Mr. Ribeiro referred to this. This is the language that we have our documents. We cannot produce documents in all these languages that we are talking, of course. So it's one official language. There is another one language that we are going to have translations, simultaneous translations for sure in every Congress. This is Spanish. So these 2 languages, they will appear in all Congresses. For me, whoever wants to have another language, call it official or not, he should pay the cost. But because we should go out of all these efforts to have languages that we call officials, and probably we're going to start speaking here, to go out of this Babylonia, I will ask Nigel to put down really some criteria, some rules, why we should have these languages, what they are expecting from us. Do the Turkish Federation, for example, is expecting that they will send us a document, a paper in Turkish, and we should understand? I know not. Yes, you are expecting this, so good. Then we should charge them. And we should charge them in an annual base, all those that they are asking, for the possible cost that we are going to have. So you should study this, come with a proposal. Those that they want to have their own language, call it official, probably they should pay some important cost, possible cost, that we are going to have in the Secretariat for the documents that we are receiving from them. And trying to find the other parameters why a language should be an official language. Because most probably we should just erase all this. Agree that we have English, the official Spanish that we need the translation, and erase all these other ideas about official language. In any case, for the moment, because this is what we have, I propose to